Alright, so I'm starting the recording of session. Alright, great. Hi, good evening, Mehdi. Alright, so till last time we discussed something about handling the text file. So was this clear to you? Alright, great. So I've started the recording, good. Alright, so till last time we were able to load the text file from the local folder, as well as we were able to convert read the full list of files from the file system. All right, as you must have noticed that Hadoop tries to figure out what kind of file system it is based on the protocol you define, or if you do not define anything, it is considered to be as file. All right. Sometimes your data might be in JSON format. JSON is a very prominent format because it is far less bulkier than XML. Also, the data in JSON is far more readable than in XML. Also, JSON uh, to parse the parse the JSON data, it takes comparatively lesser time, and forming very complex objects are very easy using JSON format. JSON represents JavaScript JavaScript object notation. Okay. So there are two ways to handle JSON file. I will talk about both the ways. All right. So one is you load the data as if it's a text file, which means that each line has to be a valid JSON, right? Because what we will do is if we have a big JSON structure, we will basically load each line as if it's a plain text, and then we'll convert we'll load that line as a JSON object. All right. So that this is a common technique, and the benefit of this is that we will be able to utilize the full cluster to parse the data rather than one node. Okay. One approach could have been that we load the data on the driver node. We load the data on the driver node, and then we do sc.parallelize and convert this JSON object into our RDD. Or we could and but that method of loading everything into the driver would have been would have been very expensive on one node only. All right. So loading the JSON basically loads the JSON as a text file and then map over the values with a JSON. Okay. So all right. So what exactly are we doing? We will in this approach we we load the normal file. We load the JSON file as if it's a plain text file, such that each line from the file becomes an element of the RDD, and on this RDD then we will run the map function and convert each of the element of the RDD into the JSON object. All right. There are other ways to handle JSON also. We will talk about that. The other way of handling JSON is by the way of Spark SQL. Okay. So there we will just load a JSON and then we will be able to write select queries on that JSON object. All right, in case of Spark SQL. And we will talk about per partition also. All right. So there could be, so we talked about three approaches. I will just, okay, let me make another file instead of this one. Yeah. All right. So we talked about uh, loading data, loading a JSON object per element, per element. Okay. Other was, all right. I think those things we'll cover a little later. All right. So one is that we load the whole object on one machine and then distribute it. Okay. First load and then distribute, or you can say parse, parse and distribute. Okay. And the first technique is that we load the text and then parse it distributedly. Basically, first we distribute, as in we load the text as distributedly, and then parse. All right, we will see into the first one first. Right. All right. Let's have a look at what is. Hi Ishwar. So hello Jitendra. All right. So Jitendra and Ishwar have just joined. Jitendra, do you have any question? Is it clear to you? Ishwar has question about, he's not clear about what's going on. All right, we are trying to load the JSON file. All right. One is the first approach we are going to take is load the data as normal text file and then convert each of the element, each of the text into JSON object. Okay. All right. Let's see what this approach does. So you can also download. So you can download this data from, I've just taken a sample data from somewhere in which the each line was a JSON object. All right. So let's have a look at it. Did I download already? Yeah, I already have this file downloaded. Okay, I had downloaded it and also, all right. So you can also download if you want. So you can see this here. What's happening in this file is that every line every line is a JSON object. Okay. You can also see cat stocks more, and from here to here is one JSON object. Okay. And from next line to down is another object. Alright. So, but you notice that between this curly bracket and this curly bracket, there is no comma. That means this is this whole file as a whole is not really a valid JSON, but each individual line is a valid JSON. Okay, so we can load these individual lines first. So what are we going to do? Okay, let's try to load it. Okay, and we have not kept it in the HDFS. We are keeping it locally right now. All right. So what we do, we will say dot dot, and there is Spark folder where we have kept our Spark binaries. So once we have launched it, and so what we can do is, all right, we say import JSON. JSON is a library in Python. Okay, JSON is a library in Python. So this we right now we are not using any additional functionality of Spark. We are just using our normal map and reduce from Spark. Okay, so we loaded the file as if it's a normal file, as a plain text file. So you can say input dot take one. It says this file does not. Oh, it's trying to, because I mentioned the variable, it's trying to find that file in the HDFS. Okay, let me load it again. Import, and then I'm providing an absolute. No, JSON is not an XML file, Jitendra. Okay, who all are aware about JSON format? Ishwar, Mehdi, and JSON. Jitendra, are you aware about how does a JSON file looks like? And Mehdi, is it? Are you aware? Mehdi,